So we have explained to the student what is bias and what is variance, and this is the definition of variance here. Now we have talked about the basic concepts of both. Now we would like to pose a question to the student so that he can just summarize what he has just understood. So if you see the templates here, you have this very nice template summarize what you have just learned. Now, of course, at any point in time, you can modify the text, you can modify the images, or you can select any other template from here that you feel is more suitable for the students. So, summarize what you've just learned. So, what we're saying is, after you've understood the concepts of bias and variance, now we would like you to actually share your understanding with us. Okay, next slide is about an example that relates to bias and variance being low or high. Now, this is a figure that you would want the student to think upon and understand how are the strokes actually working and varying with varying bias and variance. So, you would like a little contemplation to go here. For that, we have our critical thinking templates. So if you go back here, you have these two templates, and I pick up the critical thinking one. So here, you can put in questions that are like that would require the student to think. So make connections, different viewpoints. So there is a particular concept that you're talking about, and you would like the student to think about, to debate about the different viewpoints. So let's say you're talking about literature, you are talking about a particular character, and you would want the person to list out the positives in the character and the negatives in the character. Set up to a solution. So here you are trying to build a mountain to get to a particular solution of a problem. I observe. So here you describe what you saw or what happened. So here you're trying to make an observation. I would like to add this particular template here, but the rests are talking about I wonder. So this is what the child is thinking about what he saw. How might we? So here you can insert your question. So how might we do a particular thing? How might we lead to a particular compound in chemistry, organic compound? Consider what we need to know. So here what we know already and what we do not know. So you are trying to solve a mathematical problem. We know the value of x. How do we find out the value of y? Interpret. So what do you think the author is trying to convey? So what do you understand from what has been written? Draw conclusions. So here you can actually draw an image and you can get some conclusions. Explain. So how did you come to that answer? So you give a mathematical problem, or you give a computer problem and you want the student to do a derivation for you. So all of this can be included. I'm going to put an I observe, a very simple template. So I want the student to write what he observes from this particular figure, what he understands from this particular figure. So I just clicked on it. So describe what you comprehend from the figure. So the student is going to think about what the figure is all about and explain his observations. So this is how this slide looks like. Now, this is the next slide, and here we are talking about a trade off between bias and variance. So, this particular slide is there, and you can also pose a question before this if you want, based on this example. So, let's try to pose a question, and for that, you can again go to during lesson, and here you can see we can post a question about agree or disagree on this particular slide.